So about a week ago or so, I talked about making a very light get-home kit. Well, if you're looking to reduce the load of the stuff that you carry, especially if your get-home is more than a few miles, you'll definitely want a way to cook. And this is definitely a super, super lightweight combo that I put together that I actually use. So today, we're taking a look at possibly the world's lightest stove combo. You've got a titanium alcohol stove and a titanium alcohol stove stand. Let me give you some information on it, and let's put it together and try it out. Alright, so down here you see three things. I have my stove stand, I have a little bit of fuel, and again, because we're going super lightweight with this, I put it in a very small container. And I have this little titanium stove, this Boundless Voyage 24-hole titanium alcohol stove. The point behind this is to make sure that if you do have to carry a way to heat up and or cook food, or maybe boil some water for some freeze-dried entrees or whatever, you can do that very, very lightly and not have a ton of weight back there in some kind of heavy kit. So the first thing we're going to talk about is this Tokes titanium alcohol pot stand. Now you'll notice all the stuff is different brand names. This is Boundless Voyage, that's Tokes. The pot we're going to use is Lixada. What I do is I try to find the best deals on stuff. Since I'm buying this stuff for myself, I try to find the best deals. So don't worry about mixing gear. There's really no problem with that. So what we're going to talk about is this titanium alcohol pot stand. Now you can use this any way you want. Alright. You can use this as a wood stove if you wanted to on the ground. You can do it any way you want. And the first time that I reviewed this, I actually put it together wrong. Today we're going to put it together right. I actually put it together like this. Okay, where it was coming through this way. Really what you're supposed to do is put it together like that. And even though now that makes complete sense to me, back then it didn't. So, what we're going to do is put it like this, and then you kind of have to work your way in with these pieces here. I may have to pull this closer to me off camera to get it. No, I got it. There we go. And there you go. You have a nice round stand. Now, like I said, with something like this, I could use that as a wood stove. Alright, if I had to get some twigs and push some twigs in there or whatever. Or I could use it as a stand for that alcohol stove. So this little guy weighs about 1.2 ounces, total of 4 pieces. It's 3 inches by 3 inches, and each piece is 3 inches, of course, in height, 3 inches in height when it's fully set up. So not only is it very, very lightweight, but it gives you the perfect size for, and the perfect distance for putting an alcohol stove in there. When I tested this originally, I had it in something that was a little bit kind of tall for it. This will actually give us a much quicker burn time. So next up is this little Boundless Voyage titanium stove. You have the flame regulator snuffer piece here. So if I say I don't want to get a full burn on that, I can kind of put it sideways or whatever. And if I'm using it in here, I can do it like that. Alright, maybe I just want a couple of holes open. Or I can just snuff the whole thing out. Okay, very easy to use. The weight on it is at about 40 grams, or gosh, I want to say 1.3 ounces. Forgive my metric conversions. we'll weigh everything out when we're done here. You have a really high combustion efficiency with this stove. I like that because you have, if you can see in there, you have a lot more room for the alcohol to get inside. I don't know if you can see in there. It's kind of hard to see. But there are holes cut down at the bottom here. So you pour your alcohol in, they'll go into that here and into this area underneath. Okay, and you get that whole reservoir of alcohol on the sides there. So it will give you a nice flame, and it blooms rather quickly too, which I really liked. You're getting a whole lot more air circulation with all those holes there. And there are 24 there. I counted them. They said there were, but I wanted to make sure. So you get a little bit of a higher combustion efficiency, a very quick bloom time. Very easy to put out. Like I said, you know, you want it done, you're done with it. Boom, there you go. You let it cool off. You take whatever fuel is left and carefully pour it back into your container, whatever container you want. Again, this container here is just a little eyedropper type container. It is full of, we're using heat today to test it out. But you can do that any way you want. Again, this would be great for one burn, like we're going to do today. If you're bugging home, alright, getting home from work, and your location is maybe 50 miles away, you may want to be cooking more than one meal, so you may want to take more fuel. It's all up to you, but for my situation here, that's more than enough. You know, I'm looking at maybe one, meal on my way home before anything happens. So the first thing we're going to do with this to set it up is pour the fuel in there, okay? And I'm going to open this up. just pour it in there. Now you can refill this by taking this piece off here. That's how I refill it. You can also empty it by that too. I think we'll just squirt it in here today. It's really not all that much fuel. And as you can tell, that's really all going in there. Yeah, see? You barely have any showing on the top here. I don't know if you can see in there. You really can't. Let me see if I can tip you forward and let you see inside. There you go. So you can see where the fuel is in there. That's about right. Maybe I'd want it a little bit taller. Maybe I'd want to take something a little bit bigger to carry my fuel. But for today's purposes, we're just going to test out the most ultra lightweight kit that we can possibly put together. Now, we've got that filled. We can either stick this over it now or stick it over after we light it. Doesn't matter. I'm going to get my lighter over here. And we are going to boil 2 cups of water. So while I'm doing this here, I want to see, get it started. There we go. Okay, let's get it started there. Actually, I'll let you see when it blooms. I turn off the top light and we'll see how quickly it blooms. Okay. Now what we're going to do here is add 2 cups of water in this Lixada 750 milliliter titanium pot. And yeah, you can put this all together if you want as a kit. Okay. There we go. And I don't know if you can see the flame on the camera. It's definitely still burning. And it has bloomed. There you go. Yep, it's coming out of the holes. Really hard to see it on camera. So we're going to put this over the top here and make sure you don't do like I did and stick your hand over it. And you can see it's bloomed once you put that over it. And we're going to put this guy right on top here, and it fits perfectly. It's almost like it was designed for it. I'm going to cover it up and time it and see how long we got. While we're going here, I just wanted to kind of zoom in and give you a look at what it looks like in there with the jets all going. It is very efficient, I got to say, especially using this little container here, this little pot stand. It's very, very efficient. I don't know if we're starting to get some bubbles. Not much yet. But then again, it's only been, let's see, 1 minute and 47 seconds. So not really ready for a rolling boil yet. All right, I'll bring you back when we are closer to a rolling boil, and I will turn the lights back on so we can actually see what we're doing here and see how long it takes. All right, so we're getting a lot of steam and some bubbles starting to form on the bottom there. We're at 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Okay, and let me take another look real quick. Yep, starting to get bubbles coming up from the bottom, but not a lot, not a rolling boil yet. But we're almost there. All right, we got 4 minutes and let's stop it right there. 26 seconds, okay? We do have a rolling boil. I will tilt you up to see. Okay, and there you go. So that's not all that bad for such a tiny, lightweight kit. I'm going to pull this cup of water off here quickly. There we go. Now, if I want to put that stove out, I simply drop the snuffer on top, and that's it. It'll be out in a minute once I move this. Let me move everything out of the way here correctly. There we go. Okay. And that will put it right out. It is hot though. It is hard to get in there, so I will tell you that. I think what I'm going to do is pull this off, because it is kind of hot to get in there. There. And it's done. Now the nice thing about titanium is it will cool off very, very quickly. That will cool off very, very quickly, and we'll be able to cool it off and weigh everything. And I'm going to kind of put this together as a whole cook kit and actually replace one of the kits that's in one of my go bags because it's so much smaller and lighter. I do think, however, that I didn't see how much fuel we had left in there. Not much. So I think we're going to go a little bit bigger than this, because if I had to do something more than just boil water, I'd probably be out of fuel. Now, one of the options that I have done, and I have filled up when I got a couple of these Stanley flasks, is I used this as a fuel bottle and labeled it as such so nobody decides to take a drink out of it. And it's nice and lightweight, easy to carry, and it's very, very simple to use as fuel bottle. So that's probably what we're going to be using as a fuel bottle, and make life a whole lot easier by doing that. But all in all, for the kit itself, it's super, super lightweight. So let me let all this stuff cool down. We'll weigh it, and then I will wrap up the video and give you some links on where you can pick the stuff up. This is stuff I've actually purchased for myself. So I'm replacing a kit that had one of those little propane burners, you know, the isobutane burners. I'm replacing that kit with this stuff here because it's so much lighter. All right, see you in a few minutes. Now, like I said, one of the nicest things about titanium is it gets cold quick. Some people might see that as a negative too if you want to keep things warm. But if you got to cook and move, it's very handy. And I would think in a get-home type situation where things may be falling apart, if you want to heat up your food and kind of heat it up, eat it, and then be on the run, that'd be pretty handy. Be able to pack that right back up and get out of there. So, let's show you quickly everything that's going to be involved in this whole kit. The first thing is the stand, of course, and we're going to take the stand apart here. Just kind of pull it apart, and it all kind of falls apart. And those are the pieces right there. That's it. Really simple. Okay. This does come with a stuff sack. I don't think I'm going to use the stuff sack on it, however, because what I want to do is put everything in here, pack it up, and it's good to go. So what we're going to probably do is use the stuff sack for the stove here, which is right here. See if I can manage to fit all that in there. I don't know. Like that. I mean, you could just leave it out and let it clang around in your bag, but it's kind of noisy. So, put that in there. Alright. So, there you go. And yeah, it'll be high on one side where your stove, my pot stand is. Just pop it in here. Like that. And there you go. Now, if you really did care about weight a little more, maybe you just use some paper towel in there to make things so it didn't rattle around too much. I'm not that concerned about weight. It is nice to have it lightweight, but I'm not that concerned about weight. So what we're going to do is weigh this whole thing out, okay, so you can see how much lighter it would be compared to, say, a regular steel pot or a stainless steel pot and an isobutane stove. I'm going to bring over my thing here, my scale. I'm going to put it on here and zero it. And this is hard even for me to see at this angle, so I'm going to bring the camera up for you to see what's going on there. Alright. And let's put this inside of here. Okay. And just pop it on there. So I'm getting 8.18 ounces. Let's pick up the camera and show you that. I hope it shows up on the... Yeah, there you go. 8.1, 8.22. Yeah. So still super lightweight. If you wanted to ditch the stuff sack, or if you wanted to use something different, say for a container to boil water in, you could probably get it a little lighter. Maybe you could even get rid of the lid if you wanted to. But I like the lid because it kind of keeps the heat contained in there. So if I was going to add this full of fuel, yeah, it would be heavier. With this, which again I say would be really kind of small, that's 8.99 ounces. So basically 9 ounces with that little tiny fuel bottle. Maybe a bigger fuel bottle. Again, you could probably double the size of that, and I'd feel pretty confident with it. Again, it depends on how far you're bugging home from work. If a disaster happens at work and you're 2 miles away, I wouldn't even bother with any of that. I'd throw a few energy bars in there. You're 2 miles away. You're going to walk that in, what, under an hour, However, if you live 50 miles away from work, and, in my case, if I worked in Vegas, that's close to 60 miles over a mountain. Okay, so I'd definitely be taking more gear with me. As opposed to, if I worked here in town somewhere outside, I would just grab a couple energy bars, toss them in my get-home bag. So I'm not too concerned with that, but obviously it's an extremely lightweight kit, and it's going to be replacing something that was a bit heavier. So I will give you the links down below if you're interested in picking it up. Again, this is something I bought for myself because I decided to go a little bit lighter weight on the cooking gear, and this is a travel kit that I'm going to be replacing it in. So it's definitely going to be a lot lighter. And you can see you got your little pot stands there, your little stove there, stuff sack. And again, if you do want to use the stuff sack that it comes with for the alcohol, for the pot stand, you can. It's right here. Not going to make any real big difference. But as you can tell, it's definitely, well, not the lightest in the world. Probably an extremely light combo of a titanium stove and a titanium pot stand that makes it really simple for you to cook while you're out there. And don't forget too, you could take this along for anything. This doesn't have to just be emergency gear. Say you're going to a festival or something outdoors, or somewhere where you're going to be outside and it's safe to use open flame to cook. You could use this to heat up coffee, to make a quick meal, to heat up some canned food, whatever. So you don't want to restrict this just to emergency use if you have other uses for it. Anyway, folks, the links for this and this will be down below. Very inexpensive items. It's one of the reasons why I kind of mix and match when it comes to my titanium stuff. Tokes stuff tends to be really expensive, And Boundless Voyage tends to be a little more affordable, and Lixada tends to be extremely affordable. So I kind of mix and match with what I got, and when I'm buying stuff for myself, I kind of try to be as frugal as possible. Anyway, folks, that's the video for today. Links will be down below to check out these two items here, the pot stand and the stove. Don't forget to check out our Amazon affiliate store. These will be in my store as well because I reviewed them in the past, but I wanted to put together a lighter kit, so they will be in my store as well. And our freeze-dried wholesale link. Yesterday, we did that video with the pork chops. If you didn't check it out, go back one video. If you're watching this in the future sometime, go back one video and you'll see the pork chops we put together with freeze-dried wholesalers. My link will save you 15%, so all you got to do is click the link and save 15%. I've gotten some people saying it's kind of expensive. Remember, this isn't stuff that you're going to be eating every day, okay? I do eat some of it because I will tell you straight up, yes, I get some to demo on the channel. But it's not stuff that you're going to be eating every single day. This is, where else can you go and buy a pack of sirloin steaks, put them in your storeroom, and come back in 10 years, and they're still there, ready to be eaten? That's what you're paying for, the dehydration process. So yes, it's going to be a little bit more than going to the store and buying it. Now that said, if you can't afford freeze-dried or dehydrated food, by all means, just go to the store and stock up on canned goods. That's what I did for years before I started getting really heavily into preparedness. That works too. Below that, we have our My Patriot Supply link. If you have nothing yet, all right, and you're just getting started, you're realizing this food situation is going to be bad, you can get a 3-month kit for them. It's already pretty inexpensive compared to other 3-month kits, but you can get $150 off using my link down there, which is preparewithiridium.com, preparewithiridium.com. And our Thrive Life freeze-dried store as well, if you're interested in checking out Thrive. Anyway, folks, thank you for watching. Stay safe and stay prepared.